slow, live it up, watching time go. Planning moves, things solid to this cheat code. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Live slow, live it up, watching time go. Making moves, things solid to this cheat code. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. Get your money, make it big, fuck being broke. This how it is, the mission's Benjamins. And fuck the drama and the bullshit, we ain't little kids. My circle small, but my riders heart, they never quit. Get your money, keep it gangsta, solid, straight legit. Never switch like the real ones that die for this. It's fucked up, but this is truly how it is. I hope you're ready if you're picking this like full of sin. No turning back, I represent my vital to the end. Fuck the fakes and the snakes and everyone that hates. I'm not phased, I won't break, bitch, I'll never.
You are now watching M.O.D Entertainment.
What's good, J-Life? Now, since today is St. Patrick's Day, what other better way than to talk about the neighborhoods, all green ragging Surenos? Yes, because not all Surenos wear blue, some wear green. You know what I mean? Some even go further than that with the whole Irish culture. And that's because some of these neighborhoods were started as Irish gangs. You get what I'm saying? And some of them do still have Irish, ethnicities, in their neighborhoods. Some of these old school Varrios, you get what I'm saying? So since it's St. Patrick's Day, let's get it started, man. Another barrio you can find is right here in the area of Boyle Heights. Yes, Boyle Heights, very infamous location right here on the east side of Los Angeles. Not to be confused with East LA though. But on the east side is where you're able to find one of these green ragging Sureño neighborhoods, which, I'm pretty sure you already know which one I'm talking about, which is the Varrio Evergreen. Yes, Varrio Evergreen is a neighborhood that has been already well established right here, for a very long time. This is an old school barrio, you know what I mean? The Evergreen neighborhood's already an old barrio. And their neighborhood is everything that's from Soto Street to First Street, all the way to Indiana to 4th. So everything that's in the middle is considered their barrio. You know what I mean? So throughout 3rd, 2nd, throughout Lorena Street, throughout Dakota, throughout Frickett, throughout Matthew Street. But the heart of their hood, their main domain, their dojo, the danger zone, is on Evergreen and 2nd Street. You know what I mean? Right where the park is at, the Evergreen Park's at. You know what I mean? That right there is their heart, their domain, their dojo, where they kick it at. That's the spot right there. That's where they've been doing it. And obviously, they are homeboys, but they do rock the color green. And obviously, for obvious reasons, because it's in the name Evergreen. So that's why they use the green color to them. And like I said, the Varrio Evergreen is a real neighborhood that's been right here established and been doing it and continue to still put theirs on the map and represent for the Evergreen gang. Another neighborhood that uses the color green is the Varrio. For this one, we actually have to head, up to the hills, you know what I mean, on the east side, close to the Nella portion, where we're able to find the Varrio Rose Hill. Rose Hill is, an old school Varrio. It's not as large as it used to be, obviously, because, gentrification has took a toll on their area, because their Varrio is located where the Rose Hill projects are at. You know what I mean? And since then, they've been, demolishing them to build new, more expensive, modern, stuff. So their neighborhood has taken a blow, as of recently. Their neighborhood is where the Rose Hill Park is at. You know what I mean? Everything through those back streets is their, their neighborhood where the projects are at. That's considered their territory. And although gentrification has, taken effect and everything like that, their vital is still there, still present. They still have members around. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. But the Rose Hill gang is still right there putting it down for theirs. You know what I mean? Been already right here for a long time and, still continue to be active. And they are also, green raggers. Another barrio that we have that are considered green raggers is right here in the area of Whittier. Now, this neighborhood doesn't have that long that it's been established, you know what I mean, which is the barrio WM. WM standing for Wicked Marihuanos. Not to be confused with Wicked Minds. Wicked Marihuanos is its own neighborhood, has no connection with them. Right here in the area of Whittier, you can find them in the Greenleaf area. Obviously, Greenleaf being their clica, what they represent, you know what I mean, where they hold it down. And although there is other Whittier neighborhoods, around the area, because their neighborhoods do overlaps. There is conflicts between these neighborhoods, you know what I mean? Because this was a crew that became a neighborhood, right? So it doesn't have that long being up. It was a crew that was established roughly around the late 90s, early 2000s, and didn't become a neighborhood until like roughly around 2014, 15, roughly around that. So, freshly new. I was told that it's roughly about only 60 something members, but still, it gained a pretty good amount in a short amount of time, in my opinion. But yeah, the Varrio, Wicked Marihuanos still continue to represent, and they are also green raggers. And obviously, because of the name, marijuanos, the green is the reason for that, for the, the use of the color green. But that's what's up with them, and they be right there holding theirs down. And here we have the Eastside Pomona. Now, Eastside Pomona is known as GF. GF was a crew that became a neighborhood roughly around the late 90s, early 2000s, when this crew was established. It was pretty deep, you know what I mean, right here in the Eastside of Pomona. And they definitely handle business, man. These guys ain't no chumps, you know what I mean? Even though they were a crew, don't ever get it twisted on me. These guys definitely handle business for the ghetto family. And they established that neighborhood title, you know what I mean? They earned it, climbed up the ladder, you know what I mean? It's no easy task. But these guys definitely have writers on their side and definitely hold it down on the east side of Pomona right there for the ghetto family. Real motherfuckers doing real things, you know what I'm saying? Don't ever get it twisted. But that's what's up with the east side Pomona GF. Another neighborhood that uses a green rag is located right here in the SGV, in the area that is known as Buena Park. Now, Buena Park is home to several barrios that use the Buena Park name, but they're all different barrios, so don't get them confused because, there's conflict between them. You have the Northside Buena, you have the Kings Have a Ride Buena, the Desmadre Buena. They all, represent Buena Park and proudly, but they're all different gangs, and the east side of Buena Park is where we're able to find the next green ragging neighborhood, which is the east side Buena Park. Eastside Buena Park is a Sureño neighborhood, but they do use the color green. They are green raggers, you know what I mean? And they're an old school barrio, probably have the largest amount of territory within Buena Park, but they're not the oldest. I would say Northside Buena is the oldest and probably the largest, but Eastside Buena right there too, you know what I mean? So don't get it twisted. They definitely get it cracking, you know what I mean? And yes, they are green raggers, even though they're homeboys. It's the color that they use. You can even scope out some of their music right here. They got some rappers out of their hood that get down. You can find the music right here on YouTube. Scope it out. Yeah, but Eastside Buena is another green ragging homeboy neighborhood. Another neighborhood that is considered green raggers is actually right here in the city of Gardena. Actually, a majority of Gardena's neighborhoods are green raggers because it is the color of the city, from the high school to just everything, just green, it has always been like that. Even with the black neighborhoods, green has just always been the color for this area. So no different with this neighborhood, you know what I mean? Which is the Varrios Dogtown Stoners, and not to be confused with the rest of the Dogtown gangs. I've already broken down this in a separate video where they're all individual different gangs. And the Dogtown Stoners is a neighborhood that has already been well established right here since the 70s by the Bell Park area, because they used to be known as the Bell Park Stoners, then changed it to the Dogtown Stoners. But this is their barrio right here in Gardenas. Everywhere, throughout these back streets, by Bell Park is what's considered their territory, you know what I mean? And it is one of, Gardena's well-known neighborhoods. It is also the neighborhood in which the rapper Cujo, where he's from. And this is no joke, homie. This barrio right here definitely be holding it down and putting theirs on the map. You know what I mean? Even though they're green raggers, they still homeboys and they still continue to maintain for theirs. Now, as we head to the area of Gardenas, where we're able to find another neighborhood that are green raggers. And, one of, this area's most, well-known neighborhood, you know what I mean? This barrio is definitely no joke. We have the Barrio Gardena 13, west side and east side, you know what I mean? Because there's two different ones. There's east side and west side, different, same neighborhood, different areas, you know what I mean? So, they're either on the east side of Gardenas, on the west side of Gardenas, but it's all one whole family. Gardenas is the largest neighborhood within this area. They are massive. They have already been right here for a long time. They're an old school barrio, and green is their color. You know what I mean? Like I said, they're homeboys. It's just that green is their color. That's just the way it is. Like I have said, not all the homies, use the same color and stuff like that. There's certain barrios that just, have their own colors just for their specific neighborhoods. And green is just because the city of Gardena has always been the color green. You know what I mean? Even the schools, that's That's the color that they use. They just adopted that. You know what I mean? Even the black neighborhoods use the color green. You get what I'm saying? The green is just the common theme over here in the area of Gardenas. It seems like almost all the gangs in Gardena use the color green. And that's just the way it's always been and the way it's always going to be. And, now the Gardenas neighborhood already an old school barrio. And from what I was told, this neighborhood is more than 300 members, more than 400 members to the Gardenas neighborhood, at least from what I was told. So we're talking about a massive amount of manpower and a massive amount of, it's a big gang, homie. And this is also the neighborhood in which Baby Bounce, the rapper, this is the neighborhood, where he's from, what he puts it down for. And yeah, the Gardena neighborhood ain't no joke, homie. They definitely got their writers to continue to put theirs on the map. Another barrio that we have right here now as we travel to the San Fernando Valley to the area that is known as Granada Hills. Granada Hills is home to, neighborhoods, even though, people want to, say whatever they want. It does have barrios. And one of these neighborhoods is a homeboy neighborhood, but they are green raggers. And they're not just located here, but they're located in the Antelope Valley and the SGV in different locations. But we have the barrio DYP. DYP standing for Delhi Young Players or Delhi Cyclones. The original name of the neighborhood was Delhi Young Players when it was a party crew, roughly around the 80s, and then transitioned into a neighborhood. It changed the name. Well, they use both names still, you know what I mean? But, you see nowadays you see more of the Delhi Cyclones one being used than the Delhi Young Players, but essentially it's all the same neighborhood, and they are green raggers. They're homeboys, but they are green raggers, and obviously they use the color green because of Granada Hills. It's the color of Granada Hills and stuff like that. Is what they rock, the green. They just adopted that from their birthplace, pues, you know what I mean? Because even though they have already traveled to different locations, nonetheless it's still the places in which they come from, and their territory is everything from where the Granada Park sat and all those back streets and where the high school's at. That is what's considered their barrio, their territory, and where they do their thing, you know what I mean? The DYPs, at least from what I was told, is that they're roughly about like 60 something, 70, 80 members to them, roughly around there, and they still be active and holding it down for theirs. Now, another barrio that we have, now for this one, we actually have to travel to the Inland Empire, the IE. You already know the IE definitely be cracking. And it is home to a neighborhood that uses the color green as well. And for this one, we actually have to make our way to the area that is known as Rialto, specifically to the north portion of Rialto. This is where we're able to find this next barrio that's green, which is the NSR. NSR translating to Northside Rialto. Northside Rialto is a neighborhood that uses the color green and the three-leaf clover, obviously because the reason why they use the color green, the three-leaf clover, is because they're located on Shamrock Street, and obviously people should know what a shamrock is, and that's the reason why they adopted that, you know what I mean, the color, the three-leaf clover. And why you see, because sometimes people be like, is this an Irish gang or what's going on? It's because of the name of the street, you know what I mean? And they just adopted that, but that's the reason why. It wasn't that they were started by Irish, or nothing like that. It's for that, you know what I mean? Because obviously they're on Shamrock Street. That's their heart of their hood, their domain, their dojo. That's where it definitely be going down, you know what I mean? And the Northside Rialto is definitely a neighborhood. It's not as old as some of these other gangs around this area, but nonetheless, don't get it twisted. This neighborhood handle business and continue to still represent for theirs. Another neighborhood that we have that uses the green rag to it. Now, for this one, we actually have to make our way to the area of Paramount. Paramount is a home to one of these neighborhoods that uses the color green. Now, I know individuals say, I never heard of that. No, it's not a real gang. Look, I'm never here to come to falsify, make up, invent, none of that shit. You know what I mean? This is a real neighborhood. Despite if you heard of it or not, despite if you don't like them, it doesn't change the facts, bro. And I can't come here and, make up stories or go based off of people's emotions, you know what I mean? This is a real barrio, dog. Hate it or love it, dog. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean? You can't take that from them. You know what I mean? Go tell the homies busted. Which is the Barrio Lima Street. Lima Street is a real neighborhood on the west side of Paramount. It was always roughly a small neighborhood. You roughly don't see them up as much, you know what I mean? Because from what I was told is that they were roughly about 25 to 30 members only. Never got bigger than that. And, since you have more dominant gangs within the area, it makes expansion a lot harder. But nonetheless, a real neighborhood that has real soldiers that put it down for their neighborhood. You know what I mean? They got some solid individuals out of this hood that still hold it down for theirs and continues to represent for theirs, and the Paramount Lima neighborhood. And obviously the color green because of Lima. You know what I mean? That's the reason why they use the color green. But that's what's up with them. Another neighborhood that we have that uses the color green is located right here in the Elysian Valley in Nella. Nella portion of Los Angeles, northeast Los Angeles, where we're able to find the Varrio Frogtown Rifa. FTR, fuck the rest. FTR is a neighborhood that definitely uses the color green, and obviously for obvious reasons, because Frogtown, so obviously that's the reason why they use the color green. And their neighborhood is everything that's in the Lejeune Valley, right here on Riverside Drive, the Park side, you know what I mean? Is where you're able to find these, vatos, the heart of the hood, right there where the freeway's at, throughout those back ends, those cul-de-sacs. It's, where the neighborhood's at, you know what I mean? It's an old barrio, you know what I mean? Dating back to the 30s, 2030s, por allí, when this neighborhood was established. Large neighborhood, well respected, you know what I mean? And obviously it was known as Frogtown because due to the vegetation that grows right there where the riverbed's at, and when it would rain there would be a lot of frogs, and that's the reason why it's known as Frogtown, because not just the gang will call it that, even the locals call it that. So that's what's up with the Varrio Frogtown, another green rag Sureno neighborhood. Another neighborhood that is green raggers, we have to travel to the area of Orange County, the OC. You already know the OC is definitely home to several gangs, you know what I mean? And, you have different rags over here from black to blue to gray to red. This area definitely, has gangs that use different colors. And one of them is green, and that one is located over here in the area of Santa Ana. Santa Ana is where we're able to find one of these neighborhoods, and it is known as the Evergreen Locotes. Evergreen Locotes is obviously located on Evergreen, you know what I mean? That's the heart of their hood, their domain, their dojo. That's where it be cracking. And this neighborhood, is one of these, neighborhoods that you definitely see up, you definitely hear about. They got numbers on their side. They're not a really large gang, but they're not a small gang. They're an average size gang. And they're a neighborhood that definitely be writing and put it down for theirs, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure people see the graffiti and the activity, you know what I mean? These guys ain't no chumps, they got people that be putting it down for theirs. And obviously, they use the color green because of the name Evergreen, the name of the street. That's the reason why they use, just like Evergreen in East LA. And no, they're not the same neighborhood, two different neighborhoods. Just common name. And the Evergreen Locotes right here in Orange County is another green rag neighborhood that definitely puts it down. Another neighborhood that we have that uses a green bandana. For this one, we actually may have to make our way to the SGV. The SGV, known as San Gabriel Valley, to the area of Monrovia. Yes, Monrovia is home to Varrios, despite what individuals want to say. They like talking without knowing. Monrovia is home to gangs, you know what I mean? Not just Hispanic gangs, but you have other gangs, like the Do-Rock Cribs. As a matter of fact, there's heavy tensions between Hispanic and black neighborhoods over here, you know what I mean? They definitely be colliding. There's definitely, animosity there. It definitely cracks in Monrovia, it's made headlines several times, for all kinds of shit, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? They don't be, coming at you guys like this, for not doing nothing. It's because these individuals are definitely kicking up dust. And that is the Varrio MNV, which is known as the Monrovia Nuevo Varrio. Monrovia Nuevo Varrio is already an old barrio that has already been right here, well established. You get what I'm saying? And they actually have a decent size in numbers. They're not a big gang, but they're not a small gang either. They're an average size gang. You get what I'm saying? And they also use the color green. You know what I mean? That's been their color since the gates. And they're a homeboy neighborhood, obviously. And they definitely be holding it down for theirs. These guys ain't no suckers, but that's what's up with the Monrovia Nuevo Barrio, another green rag Sureño neighborhood. Another neighborhood that you have that uses a green rag is located in Orange County, right here in the area of Buena Park. Yes, Buena Park, home to Varrios, not just to Knott's Berry Farm. It's home to real gangs, you know what I mean? And the neighborhood that's well established right here, not to be confused with Eastside Bowling. This is actually known as the Varrio Eastside Buena Park, ESBP, written the same as Eastside Bowling Park. I know it sometimes get confusing, but one is Eastside Bowling Park, this is Eastside Buena Park. Obviously right here in Buena Park, you can find them throughout all of Buena Park, throughout Beach Boulevard is where this neighborhood be roaming around. And these guys ain't no suckers, homie. This neighborhood definitely be with the business, homie. You know what I mean? They've been already right there, well established, and it's an area that they keep the area active. You get what I'm saying? And they use the color green. Has been their color. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, also the Eagles football team, the apparel is what they wear. You know what I mean? That's just always been their get down, and they continue to still be active in holding it down right here for the Eastside Buena Park. Now, this neighborhood be a little bit different because this neighborhood actually was started by Irish, It was an Irish neighborhood, before. This is an old barrio right here within the Lincoln Heights area, which is known as the Varrio Clover 13. Clover is an old neighborhood right here, obviously named after the street Clover. And obviously, since before there was a lot of Irish that lived around the area, that's why you had like a lot of Irish liquor stores and shops and streets. Yeah, that tend to come off like from Ireland, Irish. And that's the reason for that, because before this area used to have Hispanics and Irish, mostly more Irish than not. And before, everybody was getting mistreated equally, meaning Irish, blacks, Hispanics, you know what I mean? So these immigrants banded together to defend themselves, because they were getting picked on, and formed their own barrios, you know what I mean? To stand up for themselves. And one of those neighborhoods was the Clover neighborhood, but obviously with time passing by, those families moving out, more Hispanic families moving in, it slowly became more and more a Hispanic gang. And so ultimately, it's more of a Hispanic gang than anything else. You get what I'm saying? And obviously named after the street. And their neighborhood, extends all of this, was 28th and throughout the 20s and all that. That's why you see them hit up as their clicas and stuff like that, showing the areas in which they roam and control. You get what I'm saying? And that's the reason why the green raggers, because of the clover, and obviously that's the reason why they ride the 3-leaf clover and all of that. You get what I mean? Because they are a green ragging neighborhood. They are homeboys though, nonetheless. You get what I'm saying? And this neighborhood is an old barrio, already dating back to 1915. Roughly around that time frame is when this neighborhood was established. So, long time that this neighborhood's been right here. But that's what's up with the Eastside Clover. Now, in order to find the next neighborhood on our list, we actually have to make our way to the area of Southgate. Southgate, home to many neighborhoods, you know what I mean? It definitely be cracking in Southgate, let me tell you that much, you know what I mean? Southgate is definitely an area not to be slept on. And this area is home to one of these neighborhoods that uses a green rag to them, which is known as the Varrio MLS. MLS translating to Varrio Marihuana Locos, Mota Locos, Marihuana Locos. Obviously, the reason why they use the green bandana is because of their name, Marihuana Locos, obviously marijuana being green. And for that reason, is why they use the green rag. So yes, they are green rag Surenos, you know what I mean? The Marihuana Locos, a very, very old neighborhood within the area of Southgate, one of the original neighborhoods out of Southgate. When you think about the Southgate area, this is one of the neighborhoods that, definitely pops into mind, right off the bat. You know what I mean? And this neighborhood is not a large neighborhood, but it's not a small neighborhood. Average size barrio, you know what I mean? And like I said, homie, they with the business, dog. They ain't playing over here. And you can find their neighborhood, Firestone and Bryson Avenue. That's the heart of their hood, their domain, their dojo throughout those back streets. That's where they get it on and crack, and that's their playground. And like I said, this barrio is definitely with the business, have continued to be representing right here and putting theirs on the map. And for the next neighborhood, we actually have to head to the area of the M.O.D Valley, the 661, to the area of Valverde, where we're able to find the Valverde Park locals. Valverde Park, VVP, is a neighborhood that has been already established right here since late 70s, early 80s when this neighborhood was established. Not really all that large, but nonetheless, a real neighborhood that does real things, all throughout Valverde. You can find them, but mostly at the Valverde Park. That's their domain, their dojo, and where they hold it down.